Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 1 2
1 2 3.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Streaming Without a Paddle. I'm Andrew.
And I am Ted, covered in paint. Sorry, everyone watching.
This week, Ted and I watched Prime TV or Prime Video, whatever you want to call it, your Amazon Prime account. Video, Ricky Stanicky, an Amazon original. 1 hour, 53 minutes, starring Zac Efron, who plays Dean, John Cena, who plays Rod, Andrew Santino, who plays, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm horrible with
You're
names.
bad with names, dude.
I am. Who plays JT, and William H. Macy. Oh, Jermaine Fowler is also.
Yeah, he's in a lot.
Yeah.
He was in the babysitter movie about where the killer babysitter. He's funny.
I wanted to list them off in order because those are the three best friends that this whole movie revolves around. Well, I guess it's four with John Cena. And William H. Macy is in it, and Jeff Ross. I have to throw him out there.
You thought Jeff Ross was worthy of a mention?
Well, it is because I got a story. Lex Scott plays Aaron, which is Dean, or in this case, Zach's wife, and then Anja, something I can't pronounce her last. Savick plays Susan, who's JT's wife, and Jermaine Fowler's character is not married,
Has a serious boyfriend.
Serious boyfriend, yes. Ricky Stanicky.
It's funny.
It is. You want to explain what this is, or
Yeah, I can explain what it is. So
do it.
three. I was trying to look up how to pronounce that name. You just butchered.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, all of them. I don't know why you don't do this part of the show. You should.
Because I shoot from the hip, man. Pow!
I say them as I see them.
I know.
I'm like hooked on phonics for names.
I don't know what that one is, but I do know Andrew Santino. This movie is about these three guys that have been friends since they were, kids, and it starts out on like a Halloween, and they throw some flaming dog shit on crap, poop, whatever. They put it on a front porch, and this big whole to-do happens, and so they blame it on their friend Ricky Stanicky, who's imaginary. So for the rest of their lives, up until their 30s, which we pick up in their mid 30s.
Yeah, they're 20 years friends.
Yeah, so they're like 34, 35.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, everything they do, at all points in times, they blame on their friend Ricky Stanicky. Oh, we got to go out of town because Ricky Stanicky has butt cancer. Oh, we got to go do this because Ricky Stanicky is saving the whales.
Right.
So
they're Ricky Stanicky, the imaginary character,
the imaginary friend,
is their hall pass.
Yeah, it's their hall pass.
Get away from the wives.
So they run into a little bit of a snafu where one of the in-law moms doesn't believe that Ricky Stanicky is real. And so while they're in, it's not Vegas, it's
Atlantic
City. They meet John Cena, who's this guy, Rod, who does he covers songs, but he only does the sexual things. Like he'll make a masturbation joke out of Rebel Yell or White Wedding by Billy Idol.
He is the porn version of Weird Al Yankovic.
Yes. And so he is also an actor. And so they meet him, whatever, they get his card, they kind of blow him off and tell him to go away, and then they need an actor to pretend to be their friend, so they call him and hire him to be their friend. And then he pulls it off for a weekend, and then the next thing they know, their boss at their financial analyst company hire him, and he proceeds to go on to be Ricky Stanicky. Yeah. He doesn't want to be Rod anymore. He wants to be Ricky Stanicky.
Now don't give away.
No more.
No more, because there's a twist at the end, as you can imagine. All right, I love this movie to a degree.
To a degree.
Well, it's so juvenile. I mean, it is. It's so juvenile.
Let me.
The mature me did not like this movie as much as the juvenile child in me. Good good thing the 70% of me is juvenile child. So,
Look. We don't do it anymore. We don't make comedies very often anymore. People are super scared to offend people, which is fair. I mean, this is a old school dick and fart comedy that people that are somewhat aware of how society is now and don't say, well, everybody's woke. They still made it funny without offending people.
Yeah.
And I think this is one half of the Farrelly brothers.
Peter.
This is one half.
Peter Farrelly's directed this.
Yeah, he directed it. He wrote it. He was one of the writers. There's like six writers.
Six writers.
They just give everybody that's punching up jokes like writing credit. But I mean, I think this movie, if you like Shallow Hal, if you like Dumb and Dumber, if you like all those movies him and his brother did, this is the kind of movie. Except, there's no real exception. It's that type of movie. Honestly, it's better written than a lot of those movies.
What about
not Dumb and Dumber? Dumb and Dumber is perfect.
What about Mary?
Yeah, something about Mary. Kingpin.
Something about Mary, yeah.
Kingpin. I mean, I love all those movies, and they're very 90s, and they did that. His other brother did Champions that we love.
Yeah, with Woody Harrelson.
And I would say that if anything, the comedies these 65-year-old men are making translate better than a lot of the new comedies.
Yeah, like I said, the juvenile in me really like this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you have a juvenile in you, you should enjoy this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I have a big juvenile in me.
I love the writing in this. I mean, it was spot on.
Yeah, and I think it's like also like fun for these actors. You can tell they're having a blast.
I was gonna say I would have loved to have worked on this movie.
I would have loved it.
But I would think though that this movie became very cliquish from a production standpoint. I bet Andrew and John and Zach, they kind of, and Jeremy and Jermaine, excuse me. I bet they along with Peter kind of bonded, and it just became a them thing. So maybe it might not have been so much fun to work on, but as just a standard crew member.
You're coming from a crew perspective,
right?
So I would think, cast-wise, it would probably be fun.
Yeah,
because it's like, I know Bill Macy. He's a nice guy. He's super cool.
I think he's great.
Yeah, he's great in this movie.
I think he's hysterical in this movie. Yeah,
everybody's really good. The wives are good.
Yeah.
The
acting was great.
No one in this movie's bad. The writing is good. The direction is great. I mean, it's a very good If you don't like dick and fart movies, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, well, on that note, I watched this movie with my wife.
Did she like it?
And she's listening to the show, I'm sure, and because she listens every week.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you're our biggest fan. My wife is probably yet to listen to it.
She doesn't.
I don't think she might.
She should.
I'll tell her about it. She does always have a zinger to come in or tell me to tell you stuff.
Yeah.
She liked this movie. She actually giggled a couple times at the top before she went off to do something else.
Okay, so we watched this movie, and I'm sitting on one end of the couch, and my wife's on the other end of the couch, and I'm going to say for the first 70% of this movie, my wife's not a big laugher. I mean, okay. I personally, I like jokes. I tell jokes. I act funny. I do that. I've always, there's part of me that misses doing stand-up when I did that in college. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to get back to it. So I'm always trying out kind of material. And my wife doesn't laugh at me. So we're sitting on the couch and we're watching this movie. She laughs at nothing I do. Nothing. Anyway, we're sitting on the couch. And I love you, honey. I know you're listening. And I keep hearing these little giggles down at the other end of the couch. And I look over and she's laughing at this movie. And then when we finished this movie, she turns to me and she said, I didn't like it. And I said, you laughed like 70% through it, honey. I heard you. I turned and looked and watched you laugh.
What'd she say?
What? No, I didn't.
Paige openly laughed at the first 20 minutes of it. She's like, "This is stupid, but it's funny," and I was like, "Yeah,
exactly." She's
got
a juvenile in her.
She does somewhat, but I don't remember when. Not to make our review run long, but
no,
I don't remember when we stopped just having fun. When did that happen?
Not a clue.
Man,
not a clue. And you're absolutely right. It did happen.
I went to South by Southwest this weekend.
Yeah.
Right? For a movie that I'm in called Bob Trevino Likes It, which we should review, and I'll be very biased. You will love it.
Okay.
It's extremely good.
No, this is what we'll do. This is going to be the break-in for Paige.
She'll come to it?
She'll come, but we're going to have you sit here and listen to us review it.
That's fine. Hey, she cried. Honest to God, I cried, and I knew what was going to happen.
She would be biased too, wouldn't she?
No. She is my biggest fan, probably, but no. But I mean, it is some real tear-jerking moments, but it's also got some real comedy in it, and it's funny. And I was looking at the other 7 films that were doing their narrative feature competition at South by, and I was like, we're not a comedy. We just have some comedy in it.
Right.
There is no comedy. Nothing whatsoever. There's big sci-fi dystopian blah blah blah.
Right.
There is horror. There is heavy drama. There's film that looks like everything is gray outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. I don't want to jinx it, and this will come out after this, but I think we're going to win the audience award just because every review we get's 98%. I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, because you had you felt something and cried. You laughed and cried.
You're the Martian.
Yeah, we're the Martian. I think it's pretty. I'm pretty honestly to sidebar. I'm pretty excited for that movie to come out widely for other people to see it. I think it's great.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking for that. All right, let's talk the actors in here. Let's just bang them off real quick. Jeff Ross. Here's my Jeff Ross story. I'm going to basically start from, and the reason I put him in here. When I was out in L.A. in the early 2000s, I worked with a guy who I've never met anybody like him before in my life. I still haven't. And I say that I haven't ever met a guy or a person in the industry that has so much respect from so many people. Okay. Doug, I'm going to throw your name out there, Doug. I love you, brother. And we met on The Mole, and he was one of the producers of the Mole, and we went out. He took me out to lunch one day. He was like, "Let's go." We were in the office. "Let's go out to lunch." So we did. He got in the car. We get in the car, and he drives down. He takes me to Rodeo Drive.
Oh,
okay. He gets out. We go into this little restaurant, and we sit down. Of course, when we walk in, it's an Italian restaurant, right? And he's Italian. We walk in, and the people working there, they all knew him. They all knew him, and I was just blown away by that. And we sat down at the table, and we were right on the sidewalk, inside, but on the sidewalk, and big open area. And Jeffrey Ross gets out of the car and starts walking over, okay? And I recognized him. Doug didn't say a word.
You didn't watch the roasts?
Yeah, well, I knew who he was. He was a comedian.
Those were out then because they were big in the early 2000s. Those roasts.
So anyway, Ross, I guess, spots Doug sitting there, and he comes over to us, and he's like, "Doug, Doug introduces me, and I'm sure Jeffrey Ross has no clue who I am because everything gravitated to Doug." Mm-hmm. And I was like, so that's my Jeffrey Ross story. But Doug
was it like you weren't even there?
Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, like I said, I'm sure Jeffrey Ross has no idea or no memory of me. Okay. He goes, he might remember, oh yeah, if he's listening and he hears the story, I remember Doug on Rodeo Drive sitting there, and I came over and we said hi, and they talked for 10 minutes, Ross is outside the window and Doug's inside the window, and they just talk through this open window. And so anyway, but another quick, this is how big Doug is. He worked for a celebrity. I mean, he was a producer of a really popular show, right?
Okay. Tell me off air.
Yeah. And they had a rap party at a local tavern, a little bar, pool hall kind of deal. And everybody was there. I mean, and Doug and I were off doing our other show, wrapping up stuff, and then he grabbed me and he said, "Hey, I'm going to the rap party for a show. You want to go?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." So I go with him. We walk in, and all the cast and crew are already there in this billiards place in L.A. Doug walks in, and it's like, ah! And by no fault of his own, we go downstairs, we go over, we sit at the bar, and everybody comes over and is just basically, I'm the guy, I'm with Doug, and I'm literally pushed out of the Doug circle.
I can't wait to hear what show he produced.
Okay.
That you were at rap party.
And the stars of the show are there. And so I've been pushed out of this circle, and I'm looking from the outside in, and on one end of the bar are two celebrities, and then there's Doug on the other end, and everybody's around Doug. And I was just amazed. But every time we'd go out, every time, it was the same way. We'd walk in someplace and everybody would know him. I've never met anybody like that before in my life.
Baller's Ball.
I mean...
Is he from L.A.?
No.
Really?
No.
I find sometimes those people from L.A. that work in show business because their parents, like... And I don't mean like... I just mean people that are like, oh, I'm production. And then they like, oh, you know everyone because you went to high school here.
Yeah, no. He's from back east, and he's just got such charisma about him. He really does. I mean, I'm totally amazed. And those are just two examples, but we went out often enough, and everywhere we went, the response was the same when he walked in to wherever we went. I've never met anybody like him in my life, and that's a compliment. I mean, he's just awesome. I mean, he's the beast. He's just a beast. But anyway, I'm going to see if I can get him on the show.
Do it.
That's what I should do that. Anyway, all right. That's my Jeff Ross story. William Macy, hysterical in this.
I built him a chicken coop.
There you go.
Well, he had a chicken coop, but all the doors had fallen off. And
right.
I was living in L.A., and my friend was his assistant, and she goes, Ted's real handy, and he's not in anything right now. And he goes, oh, cool. And he let me use all his tools. He's got a whole woodworking shop.
Your hand was where William Macy's
That's
hand.
true. I used his saw. He was great.
Right.
He's
you
a good
touched
dude.
William Macy's. Anyway, Jermaine Fowler, like you said, he's in everything. He was great.
He's great. He's funny.
He was great. Andrew Santino.
He's a comedian.
He
podcaster.
is. I just actually became familiar with him, and I say that in the last 6 months. And then when I saw this movie and I saw him, and I go, oh, that's the guy who's on the podcast Bad Friends with Bobby Lee.
Yeah, he's also in the show Dave, the Little Dicky show.
Yeah, I don't. No,
you're not gonna watch that.
Yeah,
it's funny, but you wouldn't. I don't know if you'd like it.
Well, on YouTube they do the shorts, and
you're not into them.
No. What it is because we do our podcast and we're available on YouTube. It's Streaming Without a Pedal.
Yeah.
And because of that, I get a lot of podcasts that show up through the algorithm, and so Bobby Lee and Andrew are there. So I put all that together, and I was like, oh, okay, he did a pretty good job. Yeah. All right, I'm going to move on to John Cena.
Home run hitter. Okay. I love him. I think he's funny.
Maybe we should do John Cena and Zach together.
I love Zac Efron. Okay. I don't know when Zac Efron. I think some of those early dramatic roles he tried to do, like the one about the soldier coming home, and he was like, I don't know, it was boring. But usually he's
You're not
really
talking
good.
About the greatest beer run ever.
No.
Oh, okay.
Zac Efron is, I think, usually really good. I thought he was good in this.
Yeah, he doesn't seem very comfortable to me.
Well, that's because he broke his jaw and almost died, and now they rebuilt it.
So, well, I'm just saying, even if we go back and listen to the Greatest Beer Run Ever review, I think I said it there. He just doesn't seem very comfortable or natural in doing it. I'm not saying he's bad, but I think he's not. He's a good actor. I don't think he'll ever win an Oscar. I could be wrong. At least no time soon. But he just doesn't seem natural. And when he's opposite somebody like John Cena, oh my God, it really kind of shows.
Well, after you watch Peacemaker and you watch...
I watched one episode of Peacemaker.
But after you watch it and you watch this and you watch... Am I kicking you?
No.
Oh, and you watch Suicide Squad, the
right,
second
I saw
one.
those.
Like when you watch them, you're like, I don't know, dude. I think you might kind of be like this. I think he might have a smidge of this in him.
Oh yeah,
like just jockey dum fun guy.
Yeah,
I feel like that's him. When he goes, "You're an alcoholic, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "How are you so big and jacked?" He goes, "Steroids. I love them. I've been on them for years." I was like, "That's so funny." And he just fired it off. He goes, "They're the best."
Yeah. No, he was absolutely brilliant in this movie. I mean, he really was. He was funny. His comedic timing in this thing was just spot on. His reactions, everything he did in this movie was perfect.
What did he do at the Oscars? I didn't see it. But you texted me. I was on a plane.
All right. So what's my thing with John Cena?
His penis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always. Everything
Every joke is a penis joke.
Everything. And of course, in this movie, he sings a medley of songs about masturbation.
Yep.
I mean, so anyway, so he didn't let me down in that aspect. He was John Cena.
Yeah.
But on the Oscars, Jimmy Kimmel hosted, and they did this skit based on 40 years ago. The host of the show, or the presenter, I'm sorry,
1984?
Nevins is his name, Nevins, actor Nevins. Anyway, and a streaker comes out of the backstage and runs across the stage. A streaker. I mean, so it's like, security, where are you? Right there on live television, there's a streaker. Everybody saw him.
Okay.
So on the 40-year anniversary of that moment, John Cena was supposed to streak across the stage. You know, Jimmy did the lead-in of 40 years ago today. Nevins, whatever his first name is, was presenting, and the streaker came out from the back, and they showed the clip of it, right? And then there's a pause, and then Jimmy repeats that, like that's the cue for a streaker to come out. And Cena pokes his head around, and you can tell he's not wearing anything, around one of the props there, and he's going, Jimmy. And Jimmy goes over to him, and he says, I changed my mind. I can't do this. He goes, but it's the 40-year anniversary, you got to do it. And he's just, I can't do it. I can't do it. And so Jimmy gives him the card, the presenter's card. And he goes, all right, don't do it. Here, go present. And so Cena comes out, and he's holding the card down across his
okay,
privates.
That's funny.
And it was pretty low too. I mean, you could tell there was no string on.
Oh, he wasn't wearing a sock?
Well, I don't know if he was. I mean, he could have had the sock on, because that just tethers around your nether regions there. So he could have had
a sock on.
Probably, but he held the card down really low, and of course everybody went crazy. And he sidestepped all the way over to the microphone. And he gave a rundown of the nominees standing there with this card covering his genitals.
That's funny.
Oh, it was hysterical. And then when they were doing who the nominees were, they were showing cuts of what it was. And then they came back to Cena, and they're dressing him up in a dress, because that's like the only thing they could find was a dress for him to wear. So it was he didn't disappoint.
I love him.
He validated me.
He's great.
He validated he's got this penis thing.
It's funny.
He likes being naked.
He does.
Anyway, all right. I thought John Cena, this was the best role he's ever been in, and it's probably the biggest one. from on screen time, other than his what he starred in the you just mentioned it, where he plays Peacemaker. Yeah. So, but I thought he was great. He was hysterical.
He's great. I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, you know what I wanted to say after I got thinking about this movie? Zac Efron and John Cena.
Buddy cop?
No. I want to see them in a movie opposite Kevin Hart and The Rock. Because look at it. I mean,
it's funny.
Little Kevin. Little Kevin. He's muscular. The Rock, obviously big wrestler, but the roles are switched because The Rock plays the straight man and Zac plays the straight man in that duo.
Yeah.
They would be hysterical.
It'd be funny.
That would be funny because Cena's character would constantly play off of Kevin Hart's character because they've got the same energy level. And so you got Zac, and maybe this is like a Tango and Cash remake.
I would write it tomorrow.
Tango and Cash with partners,
yeah.
Right?
That's a good one.
That's what I'm thinking. All right, let's get to some scores here, Tad.
As a comedic movie, I think it's like a 85.
Okay.
Like, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and they don't make a lot. Sometimes I score too high, so I don't know. You might have it lower than that, but I feel like a solid B is where I'm at.
Just because it's really immature, juvenile humor, I'm going to give this a 78, a 7.8 for those who want to break it down to decimals. That's what I'm going to give it. I mean, it was funny. I laughed. I've seen it twice now, and if I'm changing the channels and it's on, I'm going to watch it.
I feel you.
I'm going to watch it.
If you like the guy that made Lighthouse and The Witch and all that, this is not your thing. Don't watch it.
Yeah, fair.
If you like really art house movies, this is not your type of thing.
But if you like something about Mary and
this
any
is
of the
your
other
jam.
Farley, any of the other Farley movies, this is right up your line. They did not miss a bit. I noticed in the credits there were two other Farleys in here.
Fairly.
Yeah. Barry, the bartender. I'm guessing the one in Atlantic City.
Yeah, it's probably his kid.
Yes. And then Apple is
That is his kid.
Yes. Is in there somewhere. I missed her.
Okay. Yeah.
But she's there too. Yeah. So, but which is really funny because I looked up because I was like, okay, Bob Fairley, excuse me. I was like, are they related? So I looked him up. He, the son, was in Greatest Beer Run Ever.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. So he was one of the soldiers in the movie. And then his next credit, before that, he was a PA in the camera department on, I forget what movie it was. So there you go. He shift gears.
Yep.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You never know.
Fun.
You never know. Never know. Anyway, yeah, I knew a young lady who went from being a driver to being a mid-level executive at a very large studio.
Oh.
After one show.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That didn't go down well.
I'm sure. Did not
go down well for me. Anyway. All right, Ted, you were, what are we in?
85.
85. I'm a 78. So I say watch it.
Watch it.
All right. Guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Streaming Without a Paddle. Check us out on YouTube. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Ted.